Hey, it's Whitney from EcoVeganGal.com and welcome back to the EVG Uncensored channel. This is a message mainly for people who have already been watching this channel. And well, I guess it could apply to everyone, but I'm not considering this like an official video. Really because I wanted to send a message for a few reasons. Number one is that I read every email and every message that people leave me, and sometimes I don't always reply for a number of reasons. Number one is that it could be a time issue. Could be I could read it at a time where I don't have the full time to respond as detailed as I would like to. I don't like to leave comments like thank you or something. I like to really have in-depth comments. But the other thing is that sometimes I need to process what I want to say for a while, and unfortunately it can take so long that I either forget or don't get back to somebody in time. So that I feel guilty about it, and I'm working on building some sort of a system where I can make sure to reply to everything, but I'm just not there yet. Secondly, sometimes I feel overwhelmed by responding, and I haven't quite figured out as to why. I think it's just because there's so much right now. And it's funny, who was it that was phrasing this? How we kind of live in such an unnatural world at the moment where we have so much going on. I think it was actually in my yoga class, now that I am reflecting. It's not natural for us to be sitting all day, to be in front of devices, computers, like all of this technology. And there's so much more communication than really humans have ever had before. And no wonder it can feel overwhelming at times. So I feel overwhelmed almost every day. It's very subtle, but I get emails, I get Facebook messages, I get YouTube comments, I get tweets, I get Instagram comments. I mean, like everything. Not only am I creating a lot, but I'm receiving a lot in. And so I sometimes read comments and just or emails, and I'm just thinking, I don't know, there's so much to think about it. So I'm working on it. I'll get there one day. And I know a lot of you understand that. And I try to really personalize all the videos in this channel as a response to your comments and all that and take that in. And that's another reason why I wanted to create this video, is because I do occasionally receive messages from people, whether it's in comment form or private messages or emails, about being kind of concerned and having feedback based on my uncensored videos. And I really want to say that just the videos are video. They're moments in my life. They represent a lot of who I am and what I'm going through, but in a lot of cases, they're kind of temporary. And I've said this before in the videos that sometimes they're kind of like little therapy sessions where I feel like you're allowing me my opportunity to speak. And it's wonderful because I get to really speak my mind on something. And a lot of the times I just need to say it. I just need to feel it and say it and move on from it. And I hope that a lot of you can relate to that. And sometimes when you hear me say something, it reminds you of something in your own life, and you do the same thing. If you need to listen to something or say something out loud or cry or whatever it is, letting those emotions out is really one of the main reasons why this channel has become so important to me. And there's so many reasons, actually. This channel is incredible. It's hard for me when people express concern. I don't know why it's hard, but I really just want to make it clear that sometimes it's not that big of a deal. You know, a lot of you can relate to this if you think back in just your offline life, where sometimes you just need to cry. One of my friends told me the other day that she had a little breakdown in the car, and I was like, what happened? Why? She said, oh, it was just everything. I just needed to cry. I just needed to have a breakdown. Sometimes we just need to let it go. It's a purging. It's a detox of our emotions. And that's a lot what happens here. And I wonder sometimes if people think that I'm the way that I am in my videos all the time. And the answer is actually no. I am starting to do a lot more daily vlogging on my channels because you can see so much more of me. What you see in a 20-minute, 30-minute, hour-long video of me is not always exactly how I am the other 23 hours of the day or the other 5 or 6 days of the week. And while I appreciate the concern, I think that really wanted to address this is that if I'm having an emotional day, that doesn't mean that I'm always that way. If I'm having a hard time processing something, that doesn't mean that it's always hard for me. And I also want to say that a number of people over the course of my uncensored videos have told me not to worry about something. Oh, don't worry about it. Don't let it get to you too much. And I feel really strongly about this because I actually think that saying that is in a way, I know it's not meant to be, but it is a way a little stifling and a way a little, for lack of a better word, offensive, because we're basically, that feedback is saying in a way that you shouldn't feel that way. And I completely disagree. I think I never want to repress my feelings. I always want to feel them. I don't want to judge my feelings. I don't want it to be right or wrong, okay or not okay, should or shouldn't. Feelings are feelings. And I'm really trying to be more conscious about how I speak to other people about their feelings. A lot of times when people express their feelings, they just want to be heard. And as I mentioned, that's why this channel is so special to me, because you are allowing me this opportunity to be heard. You are allowing me this place to feel safe. I feel very safe on this channel. And I know that it won't last that long as this channel grows, unfortunately. Maybe no is the wrong word, but I fear that it won't last this long because on my main Eco Vegan Gal channel, I get a fair share of negativity because it's a larger channel, more people see it. And right now, the Uncensored channel is kind of protected and sacred in a lot of ways because it's got this very dedicated community. It's amazing. And it's not really something that appeals to the mainstream, but every once in a while, someone will come in, a random stranger, and take a big dig on me because they judge me based on what I say there. And that's okay. I'm learning to be okay with that because as long as I'm okay with myself, it doesn't really matter what other people think. But I wanted to take this opportunity to encourage you to try not to judge other people's feelings. Just because somebody's feeling one way at that moment doesn't mean that it represents them overall. And also, it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with feeling that way. People have said things like, oh, don't let that get to you. But it's okay for me to let it get to me. Maybe that's part of me growing and expanding. In fact, I know it is because feeling something, expressing something helps me reflect on it and think about whether I want to continue feeling that way. A lot of times our feelings are a choice. A lot of times our feelings are just part of a wave, a start of a movement. And I think that when we try to change our feelings too much, it can be stressful in itself. It can be counterproductive. I'm a huge proponent for change and evolution and growing. And I've never just enjoyed it when people try to tell me how to feel and how not to feel. My parents did that a lot. And I came up against that when I was home for the holidays in Massachusetts. I actually started shouting at my dad. I don't like to do that. I feel like it's very disrespectful, but I expressed something that I was feeling. And my dad, maybe this happened twice actually, but my dad said something back to me and I was so angry because I felt like he was telling me I shouldn't feel that way. And I don't think that was his intention. I think his communication was a little off, or maybe I received it in a different way. But I remember getting so angry because all I wanted was for my dad to hear me and accept what I was feeling and had to say. And I think that this is a sensitive topic for me because if that is happening, if I'm feeling that way right now in my life, there's a good chance that I've been feeling that way for a long time in my life. And so many of our feelings are rooted in our childhoods, right? So I haven't really thought much about this quite yet, but there's a chance that I have felt unheard a lot. I have felt like I should or shouldn't do something. I've felt shame around things. And a lot of us can relate. And that's why I really felt it was important to express that to you, because it's not always about me here. This is about kind of these overall themes in our lives. And I just want to encourage you not to judge other people's feelings. Let them be. It's the same thing with veganism, right? We oftentimes get upset if someone says, but I like the taste of meat and I want to eat meat. I know it's bad, but those are that person's feelings at that moment. And we can do our best to express why we feel the way we feel about eating animals. And we can do our best to express why we think that it is a kind choice not to eat animals. But we also have to remember that the person we're talking to is feeling something at that moment for a number of reasons. So many things are building up to it, and that is not a permanent thing. I think that's the really big lesson here, is that feelings are not usually permanent. So much of our feelings change. We are always changing. Things like actions are things that we can encourage people to change their actions, but changing feelings is a really delicate thing. And I don't know if there really is a way for any of us to change somebody's feelings on something. They have to kind of just feel it until they're no longer feeling it, until something in their life shifts for them. I don't know if feelings are a choice. Maybe there's a different perspective. I'm kind of talking out loud here. Well, of course I'm talking out loud, thinking out loud here and processing this as I say it. But, it's a really interesting topic here about why we feel what we feel and how we change here. And I think the more supportive we can be about other people's feelings, the better. If we hold a space where people are allowed to share what they're feeling, no matter what it is, then that supports them in growing and feeling comfortable with us. And when we feel comfortable, we open up. And when we're open, we tend to shift faster. So not only do I want to keep this channel, that sacred, open, safe place for myself, but also for you. And I also recognize that sometimes when people express themselves to me, sometimes they try to make it about me, but really it says a lot about them. So it also, one thing that I've learned through having YouTube channels is not taking things personally, because sometimes people just need to express themselves. If somebody says something negative to me, maybe they just needed to say something negative to somebody. Maybe they just needed to write those words. The word need is actually not something I like to use that frequently. So it's more like a want. They wanted to do that. They felt like that's what they were. And who am I to judge what that person wants? Who am I to judge where that place that person is in and why they're feeling what they're feeling? So the more that we can kind of distance ourselves from getting personally involved with somebody's feelings, but really just hold that space there, whether it's positive or negative, and then we can make a choice too. We don't have to be around people if we don't jive with their feelings. Like, choose not to be there. I've talked a lot about this, right? So it's not always about, it's also about like that space, right? It comes down to it. So do you hold space for somebody or do you leave space for someone? The space is still there. I think the trouble becomes when we try to close that space, like end that space, either by saying, I don't want this space, I'm gone. You can't have this space, you shouldn't have this space, don't have this space, all of that stuff creates a lot of negative energy and tension. But instead, if we can either say one of two things, is here's the space for you, I'm going to stand here and listen, or here's the space for you, this doesn't feel good to me, but you can still have this space. I'm not sure if that's all making sense. I think it is. I think you get what I'm saying here. And obviously this is so much more than what I'm personally going through and what I think and feel on this issue. I just feel very strongly right now in my life that the more we can support one another, the more that we can try not to judge people, the better off we are. And we can ask questions. That's actually the great note to end on here, and something that Colleen Patrick Goudreau expresses really well and has really inspired me on is, instead of judging someone and trying to give them advice when they haven't asked for advice, like, try to ask them more questions. And a lot of times when you ask questions, people find the answers on their own. A great example of this is Byron Katie. She does something called The Work, and it's a very healing process to go through, and it's all about questions. It's a different form of therapy in a way, because instead, and actually a lot of therapists practice this, right? They ask questions instead of giving answers, because ultimately most of the answers are already in us. So I think sometimes I feel threatened when people try to give me their opinion, especially if I don't ask for it. And I would much prefer if they just asked more questions. And a great starting place is, why do you feel that way? And how can I support you? And when you ask those two questions, it opens up this beautiful place of safety and expansion and allows people to grow and find what they need. And lastly, I'll end this too, is when I get triggered by something, it is an amazing time to learn and reflect, because I had a little bit of a trigger, which is why I recorded this video. Most of my videos start with some sort of a trigger, emotional trigger. And the beautiful thing is that by speaking about it, I can verbalize and think of something that I might not have been able to get to had I not expressed it out loud. And this video alone has helped me a lot, and I hope it's helped you and broadened your perspective on things. So of course now I want to hear from you. What do you feel about this topic? What have your experiences been? And anything else that this video has inspired you to think of, share. Again, this is a safe place for you, and I read it all. I love you all, appreciate you all. Thank you for being here. I will see you in the next video. There'll be at least a video every Sunday, if not more frequently, on this channel. The Eco Vegan Gal channel has a new video every Saturday, and I'm working towards doing more frequent content on there. And the What a Vegan Eats channel is now going to have daily vlogs again. It's a hard thing for me to commit to, but I'm going to do it for as long as I can. Try it out. Feels good right now. So check that out. You can see what I eat. Eco Vegan Gal is more about advice on healthy vegan living. And also the EVG Venture channel is where I share advice and my experiences on online business. So lots of content out there for you. Thank you for watching. Can't wait to read your comments. Give this a thumbs up if you enjoyed this today. I love those little thumbs up. They make me feel really good. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel, if you're brand new and this video pulled you in, please subscribe so you'll see the new content as it comes. Until next time.